I quit drinking in my 40s, not because I hit rock bottom, but because my blood pressure was climbing. My sleep was wrecked. And mentally, I felt slower than what I thought I should. I thought quitting would help my health. What I did not expect is how much of my life it would change. My body rebounded, but more surprisingly, my mind came back online. Today, I'm walking you through the 10 health benefits that surprised me the most. And if you stay until the end, I will share 3 extra bonus benefits that nobody talks about. If you're in your 40s and wondering what happens when you stop drinking, keep watching. You will be surprised with what you hear today. Hi, this is Alex Rivera. I'm here to help you become the man, the husband, the father, the leader that you know you can be. Today, I'm talking about the health benefits that surprised me the most when I decided to quit alcohol. The first one was my blood pressure, and this was a measurable shift. When I was drinking, I didn't feel unhealthy. I was functioning, I was working, I was being a dad. But alcohol activates your stress response systems. It raises cortisol. It elevates your blood pressure. Even moderate drinking increases hypertension risk. If you get alcohol off the pictures, a lot of men drop 5 to 10 points in the systolic pressure. Before I quit drinking, my blood pressure consistently stayed above 130. And ever since I quit drinking, my systolic pressure hovers around 115. That's not cosmetic. That's cardiovascular risk reduction. That is longevity. And in your 40s, it matters. Number 2 was sleep. I thought alcohol helped me to sleep, but that's the opposite of what it does. It doesn't help you sleep, it sedates you. It actually disrupts the REM sleep, which is a type of sleep that is restorative, that helps you wake up refreshed in the morning, that helps you with emotional regulation and with memory. After heavy drinking, you might feel like falling asleep is easy, but numbing yourself to sleep, or even worse, blacking out, does not lead to restorative sleep. When I quit drinking, I first found it very hard to go to sleep because I was using alcohol as a tool to numb my brain. And when that took away, there was a rush of emotions like anxiety and worry. So the first few weeks were actually very tough. As time went by, I normalized my sleeping routine, trying to go to bed at the same time and wake up at the same time. And I wouldn't wake up just less groggy and tired. I would actually wake up clear after having slept a full, restful night. And this was really surprising because having a good morning had a domino effect with the rest of my day, which leads me to the next point, which is morning energy. As I woke up refreshed, I had a lot more energy. Mornings stopped feeling so heavy. Alcohol disrupts blood sugar and actually increases cortisol spikes during the night. So even if you don't drink so much that you wake up with a hangover, you're still depleted. And when I removed it, it was not like I had an explosion of energy, but actually my energy level was steady. I used to wake up feeling very heavy, anxious, and feelings of dread. Today, I still wouldn't call myself a morning person, and some days are easier than others. But not waking up hangover and in pain gives you a major boost for the rest of your day. And I was very surprised to find out how a new morning routine where I didn't have to feel so sick really impacted so many other aspects of my life. Number 4 is inflammation and aches. In my 40s, I started to develop some chronic pain like in my shoulder and in my knee, and I just attributed this to just normal aging, right? I'm getting old. Alcohol increases systemic inflammation. It actually impedes muscle recovery. Some of what we think is just getting older, it's actually chronic inflammation, and we don't have to take this as a normal part of the aging process. When I stopped drinking, actually, I started feeling a lot more lighter, more nimble, and that knee pain that I had after a few months, it actually almost disappeared. Now, I also started a new morning walking routine. So Allowing myself to not feel so achy all the time pushed me into wanting to be more active and move my body more, which became a virtuous loop. The less pain I felt, the more I wanted to move and use my body. Number 5 is visceral fat and metabolism. Visceral fat is that fat that surrounds your internal organs and is behind so many problems, health problems for men like diabetes and high blood pressure. It can be heavily impacted by the amount of drinking that you do. In my case, without radically changing my daily routine, my body composition started to shift. I actually lost a little bit of weight right away. And that is because alcohol pauses fat burning. Your body actually chooses to metabolize this alcohol first and convert it into sugars. You have a lot of sugars in your body, you get an insulin spike, and that's the message that your body gets to say, let's store all this excess sugar into fat. And where does that fat go? It goes into that space between your organs. That is the worst place for that fat to be. So for me, losing weight was not about getting like a six-pack, but it was about metabolic stability, improved health, and that was a major benefit. And every year that goes, my body mass index has continued to drop. What about you? Which health benefit do you think is most relevant for you and why? Leave a comment. Now, a doctor will tell you that all of these are great health benefits, but what surprised me the most was that once my body stabilized, my mind came back. Benefit number 6 was mental clarity, because alcohol numbs down and impairs your prefrontal cortex functioning. That is the part of your brain that helps you with decision making, with impulse control, planning, and judgment. When I stopped drinking, after a few months, my thinking sharpened. I made decisions faster and I second-guessed myself less. Not just at work, but as a husband, a dad, at home. That really surprised me. Number 7 is emotional regulation. I reacted less. Alcohol disrupts GABA and glutamate, which are the neurotransmitters in your brain responsible for calming you down and making you feel excited. So when that thing gets out of whack, your nervous system doesn't know how to react, and you may become very irritable or very upset. You're prone to mood swings, feeling very excited and then feeling like really down on yourself. When I was drinking, I didn't realize how much I oscillated and went up and down day in and day out. It was like so tiresome. But when I stopped drinking and I started to learn to regulate my stress and my anxiety, my feelings became a lot more steady. Of course, I still experience stress like everybody else, and I'm a very anxious person by nature. But now that I don't drink alcohol in order to regulate this, in order to cope with this, my mood is a lot more stable and predictable. And being steady and predictable changes everything, from how you relate to other people around you to how you see yourself. Number 8 is anxiety, and this is very dear and near to me. Alcohol increases GABA temporarily, so this might make you achieve a sense of calm when you first start drinking. But when it leaves your system, your brain rebounds with even more stress, more feelings of anxiety. And this is why it's so easy to get into this vicious circle where you drink to feel calm, but then you wake up more anxious, and then you drink to calm the anxiety, then you wake up and feel anxious, and rinse and repeat over and over again. And I didn't realize how much I was feeding the thing that I was trying to fix. If anxiety has been part of your drinking pattern, I did a full breakdown in a video called Alcohol and Anxiety, the Vicious Cycle Nobody Talks About. You can watch it right here. It might change how you see this loop. Once clarity returned, other things started to shift. I started to follow through more consistently. Alcohol impairs executive function for up to 48 hours. So that means that even moderate drinking affects reliability. I became more consistent, and as a dad, I became more patient and more present without even really trying. Poor sleep plus alcohol increases stress. Remove alcohol and patience rises. My marriage conversations slowed down and I started to have a lot less discussion, especially about how much I was drinking. Alcohol is strongly linked with conflict escalation. Without it, arguments and discussions don't have to end up in all-out fights. At work, my cognitive flexibility improved. I was more there. I was able to react faster and offer solutions to problems. Because even moderate drinking affects reaction time. So not only was I more there, but I was sharper. These were the top health benefits that surprised me the most when I quit drinking. But as I promised in the beginning of the video, I now will share 3 bonus benefits that truly improved the quality of my life when I decided to quit alcohol. When I stopped drinking, financially, I had an immediate windfall because I wasn't buying alcohol, and alcohol is not cheap. Even if you're buying cheap alcohol, it's the frequency of how often you're buying alcohol. Well, it adds up, right? And emotionally, things shifted from loud to steady, because when I drank, I became somebody else. I had this alter ego that was like very loud and could be very obnoxious. Arguments and discussions while I was under the influence were unnecessarily dramatic and destructive. And as time went by and I stopped relying on alcohol for emotional regulation and for coping, my confidence and my self-esteem started to come back because I started to prove myself that I could live a life without relying on alcohol and that I could manage and I could cope. And this was the biggest benefit of all, that I started to trust myself again. Because after years, after decades of saying that I'm gonna do this and then do something else, I stopped believing that I was able to take charge of things and to reclaim my life. So I started to believe that I could do this. I started to believe that living a life of intention was possible for me. I started to believe that I could achieve difficult goals, that I could do difficult things. And when I committed to do something, that I would follow through and do it. In time, other people saw this change in me, and they started to trust me again. And regaining the trust of the people that I love, of the people that surround me, was invaluable. And if stress, anger, and overwhelm are things that keep pulling you back to drinking, I've created something for family men, which is not just about motivation, but about practical tools. It's called the Sober Now Reset Method, and these are practical tools to deal with stress, overwhelm, and anxiety that you can deploy today. Check the link in the description below. It's completely free. I quit drinking in my 40s thinking I would improve my health. What I got was clarity, stability, presence. Not perfection, but presence. And that is more than enough. This is Alex Rivera, the Sober Dad. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe if you found value in this content, so it'll help me to make more videos like this so I can keep helping you to reclaim your life and become the best version of yourself. I'll see you soon.